Welcome to my channel, SQL with Neil. Today we will cover chapter 4 from SQL Cookbook, and by the end of the video you will learn how you can insert, update and delete the data. So in the simple way. So by the end of the video you will feel confident to handle the data. And let's start with the inserting a new record. So the first problem is like you want to insert a new product into a product table, and the product ID must be 105, and then the product name should be laptop stand, and the category must be accessory. So before that, we require the data. So we will use our existing data. I will share the code for that. So we already have the products table. So let me tell you. So here I have created a table called product, and I have three columns here: product ID, product name, and the category. And I have already inserted the values here where I have ID, I have product name, and the categories. So I'm just going to use this code. So I'm copying here, and I will use this table in order to find and solve this problem. So let me execute this one. So it shows that it's successfully completed. Now let's solve our problem here. So let me just, so let's first see what we have in the product table. So select, then we have select everything from products. Perfect. Oh, products. Okay, let's execute this. Okay, so now we have this data, okay, and you want to insert a new row, and that should be like product ID should be 105 here. Then the product name should be here, laptop stand, and the category must be accessory. So let me show you how you can do that. So let me remove this one here. And so what we will do, we will use the insert into function, and then what we will do, we will insert all the values in products table, and then what we need to have the values. Okay, so what values we have? So we will use first values. I will insert 105. So that is a numerical. We have already mentioned is integer, so we not need to use the quotation. Then for the laptop, since it's a character, we need to use quotation mark. So laptop, then stand. And for the third column, which is mentioned like category, must be an accessories. So we need to use that as well. So just write down accessories. Okay, perfect. And so here we can see that what we have done is we have inserted the values 105, laptop stand, and accessories into the product tables. So why we have not mentioned the like column names? Because by default it will go like the first value will go into the product ID, second value will go into the product name column, and accessory will be inserted under category. So let's run this, and then let's check. Okay, one row is affected. Now let's run, let's show all the columns, and we can see that is there any update or not. So let me just write the table name here and let's run here. Okay, we have executed the select asterisks from the products, and we can see we have new row, and we have already inserted where we have 105 laptop stand and accessories. So our answer will be, let me just remove this one. I will share this data like created table under my description, so please find under that. And here the answer is we will use insert into, then the products values, and 105 laptop stand and accessories. Now the second problem, enter default value. So let's understand what is the problem. So a table can be configured to assume default values for a specific column, and you want to insert a row of the default values without having specific them. Okay, so let's see what we can do. So first we need to create a table, like just definition of the table. So let's create that. So create table, then I can write any name, like you need to give the table name. Let's say test. Then we need to write the column name, order ID, and it is integer. And we will use a function called default and 1000. Okay, perfect. So let's run this one to create the test table here. It's successfully completed. Now let's insert default value and let's check what we will get. Okay, so insert, okay, let me use capitals, insert into, we will insert default value into the test table, and we will just write here, okay, we need to write here first values, and then here we need to write default because we want to use default value here. Let's run and check what will happen. So one row is affected, means we have inserted a default value. Now we need to check what we have in that row. So let's use select function to see what we have. So select from test, and let me just run. Okay, perfect. Why we have 100? Because our default value is here. Oh, sorry, 1000. Because here our default value is 1000. If you use 500 here, and if I write down, let me just change the name of the table. Okay, I'm just going to run this one, execute these statements. Now you can see I have 500. So whatever you give in initial default value, that will be your default value for the entire uh, like statement. So we have created table, and we had only one column name, it's order ID, and we mentioned that the default value should be 500. If you write down here null, it will give null. Whatever number you are writing here, it will give that. Okay, then we have inserted test one values, and we have just written default, so it gives default value which is 500. And I hope it's clear for all of you. And if you have any question, just leave a comment. I will definitely help you with that. Now, next problem, overwriting a default value with null. So you have a problem like you want to insert a row with null values for the ID. Now, what you can do? So let me show you. It's a simple. So we will follow the same thing here. Let me just copy. I will show you what you need to change here. So here you need to change, instead of default, you just need to write null. So it will give null. Okay, and let's execute. Let's write down select statement and let's check. Okay, here you can see we have inserted null values. So if you want to add a null, just write down null. So it's simple. Now the next problem, this is very important. If you want to copy rows from one table to another, let's understand the problem, then we will try to solve. You want to copy rows from one table to another table using a query. The query can be complex or simple, but ultimately you want a result to be inserted into the another table. So let's say you want to copy customers from a West region into another table called West customers. So first we need to understand what we have. So we already have the customers dataset, but we want only customers from the West region, and we want to use that rows into another table, and we want to name it as West customers. So that means like we want to just create new tables, and as a like we want to have only customers from the West region. So let's see, we already have the customers table here. So I have already created, but let me just use here, and I will share this table as well. Let's run this one so we can have the customers table here. Okay, 5 rows affected. Let's check what we have here. So select everything from customer. Okay, let's execute this one. Okay, you can see that we have customer ID, customer name, and region. So in this region, we have different regions, like we have west side, east, north. So we want to use only those customers who are from the west side. So we already created that, but before like copying these customers and using them into another table called West customers, but currently we don't have any table. So we need to create the West customers. But if you already have any other table and you just want to copy simply and just add that into another table, you can. But here I don't have the West customers table existing, so I will just create that, and I will show you how you can just add that. So what I'm doing, I already have the definition of the table. Like I have everything mentioned here, like what columns we have. We just need to change the name of the table. Instead of the customers, I just need to write down West customers. Okay, so in this way, I will not have to write everything again. And so let me just execute. So I will have another table. So if you want to check whether we have or not, So what I will do, I will just execute this one. So you can see I have columns names like a definition. I don't have any values, so I have simply created table. Now I want to, let me show you here what I can do. So let me just copy here and paste, and let me just remove here. So let me just show all. So here this data has west side. Okay, so I want to copy the customers who are from west region, like John is from west, and then Nick is also from west region, and Eric is from west region. So I want to copy these three rows and want to use them into the vast customers. So it's how we can do that. Okay, so using a query. Okay, so what I will do, I will write a query, and that will help you to answer your problem. So let's first write down, we want to insert first this thing into vast customer. So we'll use insert into, and insert is very powerful statement where we can use them. So we have vast customers, and we have three columns. We just need to write down as customers ID, then customer name, and it's a case sensitive, so please be careful with that. And then we have region. Okay, and then we just need to write down what we need to insert. So here I will not write down the values. Why? Because I'm not inserting values one by one. I will just take the statement called select into that. So I don't need to write the values because I will insert the whole row, not the value. Okay, so I will write down select. So just understand the difference between when you are inserting values and when you are inserting a row. So when you insert values like separately, like we did in I think we did in the first three problems, what we did, we used values function just after the bracket. Okay, but here since we are inserting row, we don't need to write values. So what we need to select, we need to select customer. So we need to select all these three from the customer table. Okay, and from which table we will use? We will use customers. So we will use a customers table to copy these all rows, and where we need to filter the data first. So I want to have region where regions are only west. So I want to use only customers who are from the west region. So let's just execute this one. Okay, it shows that it's incomplete. Why? Let's change that index. Okay, I hope this is correct. Yeah, perfect. So instead of the double quotation, you just need to use a single quotation. So be aware of that. And now I want to check both of the tables here. Okay, perfect. So here you can see that here we have the first table is the vast customer table, and the second table called customers. So you can see we have only those customers who are from west region. So now it's it's look very simple. We copied and we inserted that into this one. So what will be our uh, what will be our solution? What will be our query? So query will be insert into West customers. Then we have these three columns, and then we need to write select statement, and then we will insert these three columns from the customers where the region is west side. It's showing the red one because I have table just here. So if I just change the location of this to here, it will probably solve this one. Yeah, so you can see that. So first we need to have all the data sets, then it can define then whether we have or not. So it shows here red line because we should have here. Okay, perfect. If you have any question, please let me know. I will definitely help you with that. And let's move to the next question. Copying a table definition. So let me tell you what is a table definition. So table definition means just a structure of the table. It will not include any values. It will include only the columns names. So that is called the table definition. So you want to create a new table called customer backup with the same structure as customers, but without copying any data. So you don't need to copy. So what you can do here. So, and I will not mention that I have to have these columns. I just want all the columns same as the customers for the customers backup. So let's create what we can do here. So just write down select, then asterisk, select into, then customers backup, customers backup, then from which table? Customer. So customers. And here the thing is that we will use where clause and we will write 1 equals 0. And we know that there is nothing there. It cannot be 1 equals 0, right? So it will not copying any data. And let me just execute this one. Okay, I have executed and 0 rows affected. That doesn't mean that uh, you don't have the columns. You will have. And let's check. So select everything from customer backup. Okay, and if I execute, you can see I have only the definition of the table. I have only the columns from the customers table. So this is the way you can just copy the definition of the table. I have slight note here. So when using into to copy a table, all rows in query will be used to populate the new table being created unless you specify false condition in the query clause. So what we have done, if we don't write this one, it will copy the whole table as it is, including the values as well. But since we have used a false statement, like false condition, it will show empty data. And that's the way to you can just copy the definition of the table. So in the solution provided, 1 equals 0 in the query, predicate causes no rows to be returned. The result is empty table based on the column in the query state clause. You can see here under results. And now let's move to the next. We have seen how we can insert rows, values, default values, and empty data, like with just using the table definition. Now let's understand and learn how we can modify the existing table. Okay, so now the question is, you want to increase the price of the products in the electronic categories by 15%. So you actually want to edit the records. Okay, so first we should have the data. So let me show you which data we will use. So we have the inventory data I have already created, and I will share all the tables with you under description. And let's first execute this one. Okay, so 5 rows affected. Now let me just write down here. Let me just copy and okay, paste here so we can see here. Okay, now let's check what we have in that table. Select everything from inventory. Use this one. Just execute. Okay, perfect. So we have product ID, product name, price, and categories. So we want to just update the price where the category is electronics. So we want to modify this value, and this value. We want to, I think, increase. Yeah, we want to increase the price of all product in electronic categories. Okay, so we want to increase the price of monitor, increase the price of webcam, and increase the price of speaker because they are under electronics category. And we should increase by 15%. Okay, so to edit the existing record, we need to use update statement. Okay, so what we need to update, we need to update inventory, then inventory table, and we need to set the particular price for, so we want to increase the price for price multiply 1.15. Why 1.15? So you have two options, whether you can just multiply and just you do, let me just show you, you just write down plus and then price multiply 0.15. So you can do that way as well, but we know that it's 1 plus 1.5, 15, that will be, you can simply write down 1.15, that it's increase, we will increase by 15% of the existing price. And we need to use where clause. Why? Because we don't want to update all the rows. We want to update only the product names, price, where those products are under electronics category. Okay, so we just need to mention category equal electronics. Okay, perfect. And let's run this one. Okay, 3 rows affected. Now let's check if it's done or not. So let's execute. Okay, so you can see that the price of the monitor is changed, price of the webcam is changed, and price of speaker is also changed by 15%. So we have increased 15% price for monitor, webcam, and speakers because they are under electronics category. It's very useful. So if you have big data and you want to just update the values, like whether you want to give the increments or you want to give the bonus, whatever you want to add the discount, you can definitely use update statement to modify the results. Now you know how to edit the current table. Now, the last topic, how you can delete the single row, how you can delete the multiple rows, and how you can delete all the rows. Okay, so it's very important here. So let me show you how you can do that. Okay, so first we need to create a table. So let me show you how you can do that. So you want to delete the record for ID2. So let's say you want to delete rows. Let me see if I have any other data set so I can cover that. Oh, yeah, we have the students data set here. So we can use this. Let me just copy this one. So I have student data set here. Let me just paste here. Let's execute. So you can see here. Okay, so I think it's duplicated because I did it again. So let me just change the name of that, and let's change. And here I also have to change the name of the table because I have executed twice. So okay, perfect. So I have student ID, student name. Now I want to delete the table. In the table, I want to delete only the rows where the student ID is 2. Okay. So what I will do, I will write delete. Delete is the statement. Delete what you will delete. Delete from student where student ID is equal to 2. Okay, let's execute and see what will happen. One row affected. Let's execute this one. So you can see we have deleted the student ID too. Now let's say you want to delete multiple records. What you can do here. So let me just copy this one, and here you just need to, instead of the student ID, here you can see we have two names, James. Okay, so how you can delete the multiple records where you have the same values. So here I have student name called James. So here I will write down student name here where student name is James, and let's execute this one. Two rows affected. Let's write down statement select start from student. Okay, let me just execute. Here you can see two rows were deleted where the name of the students are James. Okay, now the last point is, if you want to delete all the records from the table without mentioning everything, you don't need anything from the rows. So what you can do, so you will simply write delete. You will delete everything from student. Okay, so let's see what will happen here. Two rows affected, and if I execute this one, you can see It deleted all the records, no matter how many records we have. If we have millions of rows, if we have hundreds of rows, that doesn't matter. It will delete all the rows, and that is called delete function, like delete statement. And here the difference is that we did not mention a where clause. So that means everything what we have. So I hope you understood how to use insert, how to add update, then how you can delete the rows, single value, multiple values, or a whole table. So thank you so much for watching the video, and I hope you learned something from this video, and I will continue to teach this type of like topics, and I will cover all the chapters. So see you in the next chapter.